Year 2 saw Nebraska take a huge step under Matt Rhule as the Huskers went bowling for the first time in 8 seasons. Even better news, Rhule's programs at Temple and Baylor showed even more improvement in Year 3. I had the chance to sit down with Coach Rhule during last week's Big Ten Summit to discuss a variety of subjects, including that 2024 bowl bid.
Well, I think, when you come into a program that hasn't been there in a long time, you're trying to teach the guys, amongst anything, how to be positive, how to work so hard and believe, just really on blind faith that it's going to work. And so while it's not the ultimate step, it's a really positive step that the guys had a chance to accomplish something, go experience something that's part of college football and have fun. And then winning the game was really important too. So I thought it was a great step for our program and our development.
After a couple of years, how close is the program to where you thought, and maybe more importantly, where you wanted it to be at this point?
I think when you look at my history, it's kind of like, usually the first year is not real great. The second year we're about 500, and we hope to make a jump in Year 3. We were able to do that at Temple, do that at Baylor. I thought when I came to Nebraska that we should be able to do the same thing. So we have to make that jump. And I know every guy in our program, they didn't come to be 6-6. They didn't come to be average. We want to be a great team. We've had some moments where we feel like we've shown what we can be. And now we just have to live a life that doesn't tolerate anything else.
And you have a terrific quarterback coming back, a kid whose ceiling appears to be somewhat unlimited in terms of that ceiling's height. So how does Dylan Raiola become that quarterback this season?
Well, I think the first step was playing him as a freshman. That's not really the way of college football nowadays. You have to be willing as a young player to live, be resilient and live through the highs and lows, the ups and downs, take criticism. The criticism you take now because of social media and all that's a lot different than P.J. Walker at Temple 12 years ago. And but I thought Dylan was sensational through all that. He was resilient. He was tough. He earned his teammates' respect. I think coming into Year 2, he knows better what college football is all about. He's aware of, hey, this is how I have to protect myself. This is the situations. These are the things I need to do to be an elite player. He's taken his physical development to a whole other level. I thought he had an amazing spring. And I think those two things, being better physically and practicing well and maturing, allows him now to be a great leader.
What is Dana Holgerson's impact on this offense now that he's had a little bit of time to actually examine this offense and has now a full year ahead of him?
Yeah, I think the magic to Dana is not in the X's and O's, which obviously, he's amazing at. I think it's in the detail and in the execution. He is unyielding in his commitment to, like, hey, we're going to go out and make the routine play. And, when he first got there, we continued to do a lot of the same things. It just was just a little bit more intensity in terms of, if you don't do this, you're not going to play. I think with a spring, with a fall, him being way more comfortable in terms of this is what we're going to do, the players understanding this is what coach wants. He's going to be explosive. He's going to be aggressive. And I'm kind of a defensive guy. I'm an old line guy. We have a lead. We're going to run the ball and milk the clock. And we're playing Wisconsin last year with a lead. And he's still throwing RPO slants. And I'm shaking on the sidelines. But that's why I hired him. I hired him to take me as a head coach to another level, take our program to another level. And I know we're going to have a good defense. Dana's going to do a great job offensively.
You do still have to play defense even when you're throwing those third down RPOs with the lead. And there is a change in the front of the room with the defense. What does that mean in terms of how different it looks stylistically?
I think, John Butler, obviously, because he was here, a lot of it's going to be the similar. I think at the same time, we went back and looked and said, like, hey, to get where we want to go, we have to make improvement to move past where we've been. But we also need to look at ourselves and say, like, how are we going to go play in the college football playoff someday? And how, when we get there, we're going to go win it. And a lot of the things that, you do in 2 minute, that you do in third down, a lot of the ways you attack protections, those are things John did at the Buffalo Bills, at the Houston Texans. And so in my years, we've been in the 3-4, the 4-3, the 3-2-5. None of that matters. Get the best players on the field, run and strike. But John, I think in the situational football will bring a lot to the table. And I think our players' IQ, their development, has really been amplified because of his pro system.
Which of those defensive players do you feel like may be poised to have that kind of breakout system that you always need on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I think you have to look at all three levels. And I think, you go back into the secondary, Deshaun Singleton, was planning on going to get drafted. They had the injunction with, junior college players could have another year. And he's back. I think he's going to be one of the great players in the Big Ten. Javen Wright's another guy that was going to come out last year, had blood clots, could only play half the year, could never practice. and he's had a breakthrough, so he'll be able to practice and play another year with us. So I think when you have experienced guys like that, who had a chance to maybe go play pro football, had some opportunities, and they decide to come back, you expect them to play their best.
Matt, you mentioned college football playoffs, so let's finish there. How inevitable do you think the expansion is, whether it's to 14 or 16, and do you think that's good for college football?
Yeah, I wasn't in the college football playoffs, so obviously that can be kind of a sad thing, but I watched every single game. And it was great to see teams from all across the country play against each other. It was great to see the matchups. I thought there were great games, exciting moments, and so, why wouldn't we want more of that? I'm hopeful that they'll continue to expand the playoffs. You see it, the NFL playoffs over the years have expanded. The NCAA tournament has expanded, play-in games and all that. We all want to see postseason play, and we all want to see a champion crowned on the field. And I think if you play in the Big Ten, man, it's quite a conference. The more people we get in there, I think we proved last year, the better it'll be.
Some breaking basketball news and good news for Michigan hoops. Yaxel Lendeborg has withdrawn from the NBA draft. Projected first-round pick, will play his final year of college basketball in Ann Arbor. Averaged 18 points, more than 18 rebounds last season for UAB. That'll do it for this edition of Big Ten Today. A reminder, coming up on Wednesday, an expanded 60-minute version as we reveal the 2025 Big Ten volleyball schedule with help from a couple of the league's coaches. Until then, I'm Rick Pizzo. Hope to see you again on Wednesday.